Risky! How you doing?
How's it going?
We're not live yet. How's it going, man?
It's good. How are you?
Good. I miss you.
I miss you too. I like that painting behind you.
A lot. It's awesome. I know. I gotta get this screen going here. Let's see. Oh, here we go.
Photos today of all that. I was looking at photos today. I can't believe it's been 2 years.
I can't either.
Right?
It's too long.
I know.
Now I asked Brian when you guys are coming back. He's like, when we have another project. So yeah, we
visit us.
Huh?
We're waiting for you to come visit us.
That's my first trip. Totally. I'm like envious. I like see all the fun you guys are having. I'll be like the straightest gay there.
Straight as gay.
Yeah, I'll be like, just give me my bourbon or my beer. Don't give me any stickies because I'll be gone for the night.
What was that stuff we drank called? I saw you had. What was the stuff?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Toro. I didn't want to give it away because I want to hear how you say it.
What's say? How do you say it?
Putoro.
Toro.
I'm starting the webinar, but keep talking. Yeah, Putoro. Pitoro. Pitoro.
Pitoro. Pitoro.
Yeah, Pitoro.
Is it cold over there?
Sucks. Yeah, isn't it cold there too?
Yeah, it's fucking cold.
Yeah, it's gonna be like in the teens all week.
Yeah, it's been really cold. We had the fire all week, and now we're out of stuff to burn.
I saw you like had your cap on a couple times.
Yep.
That's why I'm not visiting you. I'm waiting till like it's, maybe June.
Smart. We got some cool. Oh, you haven't been here yet, so you wouldn't know what it was like before. So.
Are you taking over scenes space?
Yes.
I figured. Cool. All right.
Yeah. We just painted it today. We're putting a print shop in there.
Yeah. Oh, cool. That'll be awesome. All right. Let's see. Where are we at? We're at 9:01. All right. People join, and I've got like 3 pages of introduction.
Okay.
And that's only like the first chapter.
All right. Organization.
I was going to turn on my my DJ voice when I introduce you. Yeah, I can't wait to see what you guys are doing.
It's pretty cool, man. You don't like it. We got some actual Buddhas here now and stuff. It's like.
I saw it on Brian's feed.
Yeah, it's very Zen.
Are those like concrete?
Rock Zen. No, they're bronze.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Man. Damn. All right. Well, good evening, everyone. I think we can get started since it's 9:02, and unless y'all fell asleep, and it's it's only 6 o'clock where Risky's at, so 9 o'clock here. Party's just getting started. This is our headliner. This is what we've been waiting for the whole evening, and really excited to see Risk Rock, my friend from LA. I was going to give a little intro, so let me do that because we've got plenty of people who are watching tonight. I want to make sure this is only a sliver of a summary of Risk, and I think it's important that everybody kind of gets this background because we're going to be talking about some of the things around Risk's life and some of his cool successes with art and some of his adventures, and it's going to be a little bit sprinkled in this intro. All right, here we go. A multi-talented fine artist, sculptor, and graffiti pioneer, Risk, also known as Risk Rock, has been synonymous with the Los Angeles art community for decades. With a career spanning over 30 years, Risk has solidified his place in history books as a world-renowned graffiti legend and contemporary artist. From his early days as a founder of the West Coast graffiti movement to the gallery and museum exhibits around the globe, Risk has transformed from a street artist to a rising star in a contemporary art world. His work has been shown in top galleries in Los Angeles, San Francisco, Toronto, New York, Miami, and London. And Cleveland, by the way, because right behind me is a museum piece of Risk, an original. In the 1980s, Risk gained notoriety for his unique style and pushed the limits of graffiti. He was one of the first writers in Southern California to paint freight trains. And then he pioneered writing on heavens or freeway overpasses in Los Angeles. And at the peak of his career, he took graffiti from the streets and into the gallery with the launch of the Third Rail series of art shows. Very cool. One of the world's most sought after muralists, his bright, bold, color wash murals are meant to invoke emotion through color. Risk's bright neon murals often include butterfly elements and bright geometric patterns. Risk has collaborated with some of the world's top artists on murals, including Shepard Fairey, even though I think Risk is the top mural artist ever, Ron English, and OG. Slick, among the recent projects, he's painted the largest mural ever recorded in North America, which is a massive 85,000 square foot abandoned hospital in Sudbury, Ontario, Canada, which Risk did that right after he did the Cleveland mural here at Graffiti HeArt. Risk has worked with major brands such as the NFL, Lyft, Monster Energy, Indian Motorcycles, and Marvel Studios, and was selected by the NFL to paint at the 2020 Super Bowl just a year ago. Risk has also collaborated with his friends Travis Barker to design the cover art for his 2019 Blink 182 album, Nine It, and he has worked on private commissions and projects with Aerosmith, Slash, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Ice Cube, Bad Religion, House of Pain, Hazley, Dave Navarro, and more. We'll talk about maybe some of those stories. It's great to see you, Risk. And, yeah, I mean, we talked a little bit before we went live, but man, we miss you. And we're really excited and really appreciative of you taking the time. I know it's early there, so you had to probably start, greasing the wheels a little bit early today, just so that you can get ready for this hard art talk. Streaming from Los Angeles, and I got to know you a little bit, but I'm sure I'm going to learn a lot more of you. And you've just opened the world for not only me, but this nonprofit organization in Cleveland. I've followed you for many years before that, and so I was shoot you some notes to say, hey, let's do a project here and there, and finally things just kind of came together with getting this building here in Cleveland. And
I was so happy for that. I'm so stoked to see how well it's gone. It's only been 2 years and you guys are kicking ass. So that's great.
Thank you. I mean, a lot of it had to do with really that launch, having you here, getting this building kind of christened, and
scissors too, the big scissors for the ribbon cutting. I still have them.
Those things are dangerous, man.
They're huge.
Aren't they? They're like, I'm not like anti-gun, but I don't want one of my own. I just have those scissors, so that's all I need,
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, maybe we could start off just introducing yourself, because I'm sure everybody on the line knows you, but may not know you at all the different levels that some others do. So when we talk about graffiti and your story, I mean.
Yeah, so my name's Kelly Gavel. I write Risk. I started doing graffiti probably in '83 in my high school, uni high. And, I told this story many times, but like, I didn't really know what graffiti was. So I was drawing on my desk. I was a bad kid, and I was drawing on my desk, my books, stuff like that. I used to draw waves and write surf. And this kid came to school from New York, and he was like, what do you write? I'm like, I don't write, I draw pictures. And we did this for like 30 minutes. I was like, motherfucker, I don't write, I draw pictures, leave me alone. And then he was like, he took out some photos of trains. I was like, that's fucking cool. Can we curse on this?
Yeah, it's a ticketed event, so I think so.
But I was like,
that's what we're paying for.
I was like, that's really fucking cool. And he told me about the subculture of writing graffiti. And he said, what's your tag? I didn't have a tag. So I said, I guess it's surf. So that day I went out and stole some spray paint. I went back to high school and painted. And I painted probably every night when 83 through 87 or 88, probably every night of my life I painted. And I was just hooked to it. And then, I went to School of Fine Arts at USC, and I got involved in other art forms. And, I consider myself an artist that never knows completion. So now I'm doing sculptures and the public murals, and that's all different. The public murals are different than my graffiti, different than my sculptures, and different than my gallery work. It's all different. But I just love art. I just love learning, and I love no boundaries and just doing new stuff. So that's kind of where my career goes. And people always say, you know, what's next? I don't really know what's next. I never know what's next. I don't want to know what's next because I think if you kind of know the end, you know, the ride's over. And I think, you know, it's been a hell of a ride. I don't want it to end. So I just, like today, we just finished doing the Topps baseball cards. I just got that thing.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Like what?
So I'm doing 20 baseball cards for Topps, limited edition cards.
Oh, shit.
Can we show that or no? I think we could show you guys this.
Cool. See here.
But yeah, so it's just,
Wow.
it's fun. And, you know, meeting people like you and going to, you know, places, Cleveland, I didn't really know anything about it. I love Cleveland. You know, that's fucking awesome.
I'm glad you didn't come during the pandemic because you would have been bored.
Yeah.
Well, you would have still made fun because we had plenty of potato, but I'm not sure we could have got all that crawfish, you know.
Yeah. Potoro.
Yeah, potato.
Is that what you're drinking right now?
No, I'm not, but I brought it because we'll talk about the story, you know. If
Okay.
anyone knows, yeah, I'm not, because you know why? I can't get the cap open. It's like all the sugar. It's like.
Really?
I've got a substitute.
There you go. So yeah, so that's, I mean, you know, I don't really know what to say about my career. I just do a lot of stuff. I try to do a lot of stuff.
Like, how'd you end up in? Because you weren't born in California, right?
No, I was born in New Orleans. I'm from New Orleans. I was born in
crawfish.
Hence the crawfish. And I came out here, I think, in 7th grade. You know, and yeah. You know, I had a real troubled, you know, childhood, and art saved my life. You know, just I moved every 6 months, different schools. I didn't know. I was the weird kid, and I just kept doing art. You know, and became a popular kid through art. So it's like it was kind of a fairy tale story for like a nightmare childhood. You know.
No kidding. Wow. So Brian's behind the piece. So this is Mike Piazza. So you're doing 20 of these pieces?
Yeah.
Phenomenal. And this is through Topps.
Yeah, so they'll shrink them down. It'll be a baseball card, you know, but I'm painting them big and we shrink them down, you know.
What are you doing with the big ones?
I don't know. I don't know what we're doing.
I think they're going to show with all the.
I think they're going to show with them.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah. So we just finished that. So this was perfect time. We just finished like 30 minutes ago. So.
Yeah. Fun. Man, you could do all kinds of stuff. So when you were younger, then in California, in Southern California, right? Venice Beach. And then I remember when I went to Venice Beach, it was probably in the 90s though. I mean, it was in the 80s because it was like when I was in college. So I graduated from high school in 83. And I remember going out there, but you know, I wasn't really exposed yet to graffiti. That was probably my first time like being somewhere where I actually see, because Cleveland, I never, even though I grew up in Cleveland, I never was in parts of the city, you know, where I could see that.
Yeah. Well, Venice for us that was like the Mecca. Not that it was like so much of it. It was like the place to be, like the grandstand. If you're in Venice, you were doing things, right? It's like,
yeah. And
then I just kind of started camping out there, and I crashed. I started living there on Jamie, my friend Vision's couch, and with Bagel and all the Venice dudes. And I became part of Venice, and like I just loved it there. I painted there for years, like just over and over and over. And you know, you have to understand, like Zephyr came from New York and he painted Venice Beach, and that was like the biggest thing in the world to us. We're like, oh shit, it was amazing, right? And then we emulated that, you know, and that's how it all started, you know.
Yeah. So this piece is an example, Risk, and you have one of your original tags here. I remember when you came up the stairs and you looked at that wall and you were like, and there was a BOB from when we took the drywall down. You're like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cover that. I was like, yeah, but I want something here too. And you're like, I'll do both.
Yeah.
So it's like you really kind of, I mean, that was a dream for me because it's kind of helped put this place in a platform from a museum standpoint. And when you think about like when you were younger, you know, I mean, you've gone from the streets to museum. I mean, talk about that, because I think that wasn't like a surprise to you. That was your goal, right? That your art would take off.
Oh, he can paint another room if you want to. You can paint another room. You can paint butterflies in the other studio. So my whole thing was like to make graffiti like a household name and make it a real art form. I didn't like the title graffiti. I thought it had a negative connotation. The G word was a bad word for me for a long time. I didn't say graffiti. All these things. I just wanted us to be artists, not a graffiti artist, just artists, you know? So my whole plight was to make graffiti a household name or an art, a genre of art. So people always said, did you ever expect to be in museums and galleries? I was like, yeah. I mean, I dedicated my life to it. Of course I did. You know, that's why I did this, you know? So it's kind of funny the way people perceive it, you know, not anymore, but the way they used
to. It's got to be in a box, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I love about it. I mean, obviously I'm not a graffiti writer or an artist, but I live vicariously through the art. Yeah. And, you know, I love kind of how you've kind of taken and transformed. And when you talk about some of the things that you did in LA in your early writing, talk about what was the impetus for you to start writing on signs, on highway overpasses?
Well, you have to understand. So, you know, we always emulated New York, right? Because they were like, you know, they're the originators and it was all about them. And we didn't have subway trains, you know? So I went to paint freight trains because the closer we had, right? And no one could see that. I was kind of bummed out because in New York, they go to a yard and they paint these trains and it goes all over the city, right? So I was like, fuck, we have freeways. What do I have to do? So I go, I'll hit the freeways. But hitting the freeways is way different.
How did you think of that though? I mean, you've told this story probably 100 times, but.
It was easy because like I was thinking about, you know, I got really into graffiti. I was really into it. It wasn't just about writing on stuff. It was like, you know, these people, these kids, telling these stories in the urban society and like, you know, kind of expressing themselves and a social commentary and all this stuff. And I really got into it. I was like, that's fucking brilliant, man. Because like all these dudes or people go to work in the morning in New York and they see these trains and that's what's going on in the city. That's what's happening right there. That's that's what's happening at that time, right? Right. And I just love that philosophy. So I was like, shit, if I do that, I have to go paint 20 fucking freeways. So nobody to work and see it. Anyway, so I did that.
Couldn't be safe.
But I was like, that was all because I wanted to have my voice heard. I wanted to have a social commentary with my generation. So I had to paint freeways. And that's how it happened. And then from that, it just took off. Because once you start painting freeways, I'm like, and they start buffing it, like, oh shit, I'm gonna do the sign. They can't buff that. I'm like, how can I go bigger, better, higher, you know? And it's just a natural progression.
You think that was the first, I mean, was that the first time that you're aware of where freeway signs were tagged or were buffed, like across the country?
Well, you know, I was the first to do a color piece on the freeway in California, right? Because it was just like gang writing and tags, right?
Yeah.
That was like changed the game. Like once I did a color piece, people started doing color pieces. It was like, oh shit. And it just exploded.
Did you ever get caught doing that?
Oh yeah. I mean, you always get caught sometimes. But yeah, I had some really, you know, some stiff fines and I was very lucky the last time I had some lawyers come get me pro bono because Carmen Sudanovic, the city attorney, really made it his personal agenda to try to fuck me. And he caused a lot of problems for me, but I had some lawyers pick it up and I beat it. But anyway, yeah, it's part of the game. I never complained about it. I knew it. I never asked for amnesty or leniency. I knew I broke the law. It is what it is.
Painting.
Yeah. So, you know, that's just part of the game. But, you know, nowadays it's a little different. You know, you don't have to do that now. You know, it's like, it's kind of, internet's it's a pretty wild thing. You know, I didn't have computers. Right. We didn't have cell phones, you know?
Yeah.
It was way different, you know?
Uh-huh.
Nowadays, you can get up without even fucking writing on a wall. It's amazing, you know?
Well, maybe I should try it.
You should.
I don't know if Brian shared with you, I have my own little tag, but we'll talk about that offline.
All right.
So I think since we got this awesome audience, you know, we're intrigued about like some of the first like interactions you had with getting hired for some superstars like Michael Jackson. Can you tell us a little bit about that story? It's kind of a cool story.
So my favorite was Playboy. Like I did Playboy, right? And I'm a kid, a teenage boy. I was like, I'm going to Playboy Studios. There's gonna be girls there, and I get in there and they don't know what it's like with spray paint. So like, oh hell no! I start painting 2 seconds. Like, get the fuck out of here! I'm like, what? And I was so bummed out. I went outside. I remember like sitting outside. And I looked and they had like this big.
Was that Playboy Mansion?
Playboy building, Sunset.
Oh, really? Playboy building? Oh my God.
For the opposite. So I went outside and I bombed the dumpsters. And I did it like 30 minutes. Came out, I said, it's done. It's outside. And they go, what? And they came outside and they're like, what the fuck? And they wound up shooting in front of it and it got in Playboy magazine. And I thought that was really cool.
That is cool.
What it did for me was like, I saw my stuff in print and I was like, oh shit. That was a whole nother thing. I started doing Hot Rod magazine. I did all this stuff.
Yeah.
And that's how it started. And then eventually I was that guy, you know, it come to get, you know, Budweiser and all the movies. And I was lucky I lived in Hollywood too, because, you know, it's the Mecca, you know, there's filming out everywhere. So I always need graffiti. And I used to drive around and stop at sets and go, hey, that's fake graffiti. You want some real graffiti? Just let me eat craft services and I'll do some real graffiti. Stuff like that. You know, give me some money for paint.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And then
I heard that story, yeah.
started calling me. And then when they called me for Michael Jackson, that was a whole nother fucking experience. So that blew me away, because I think it was like,
is that what led up to it then? Like,
yeah, 100%.
Okay.
And then I think I got like $35,000 from Michael Jackson, something like that. But back then it was like 3 million to me. I was like, what? I'm like, yeah, I need paint. So I had a truck that they would go every day around LA, get paint for me, and I cleared out every paint store. So I had tons of paint. I lived in this 2-bedroom apartment, and I filled the halls and the whole bedroom with paint. You can just walk through it, right?
Oh my God. That's like a dream for you.
Yeah. And the guy was like, seems like a lot of spray paint. I started getting paranoid. I thought I was going to get busted. So I went up to the dumpster. I started busting cans and filling them in the dumpster. And I opened the dumpster. I go, this is only like 2 hours worth, you know? And, but yeah, I did the Michael Jackson video. I met Michael Jackson. He was awesome. I did 3 streets. One was, I think, a gang street. One was New York style graffiti street. And one's a hybrid of gang and graffiti art. And they were going to pick one. And they're just like, you know, Michael Jackson. He's like, let's use them all. And I was like, oh shit. And it was just fucking crazy. Like,
that's awesome.
The money they spent on that thing, and the power was like amazing. I remember Joe Pitka was the director, and
yeah,
I was like, I want to be like him, because like he was just like this force. And he came on set. There's a bunch of cars they rented and bunch of cars they bought, you know?
Yeah.
Right. That's when he's going to jump on that car. He's going to do this. And they go, well, we can't do that because we don't own that car. And he looked like he wanted to kill somebody. He grabbed a sledgehammer. He walked up and he beat the shit. He goes, now we do. And I was like, oh.
Holy crap.
There you go. That dude's a boss. And I was like,
shit.
I like that he had the vision, and he's just like,
yeah,
to get there
like,
and do it.
I don't like to hear we can't do. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel bad for whoever car that was, but I'm sure they got paid. So that was it, you know, meeting. I hit up in the Raptors when Michael Jackson was choreographing it. And I was too young and immature to know what he was doing, right?
Yeah.
And Raptors, because they were everyone out, and I didn't realize he comes there and he choreographs on the spot. He decides where he's going to jump and all this stuff.
Wow.
So he's like, woohoo, jumping on the cars and shit. And I'm like, laughing, and the Raptors is like, is anyone up there? I'm like, hiding.
Oh, he heard you?
Yeah, he didn't know I was up there. Like, I hid, but I didn't realize what I was watching. I was watching greatness, and I didn't really get it. So I wish I could go back and see it and be more mature and appreciate it, because I was just kind of like fucking off, you know?
Man.
But it was really cool. It was a great experience. And I just love seeing how you could do anything you want. Like, he had real gang members dance and then professional dancers, everyone mixed. And they had a lot of gang members that were like, didn't know.
I had no idea. I didn't know there were real gang members dancing.
There's a lot of real gang members in this.
Wow, that's freaking cool.
And they were great dancers. They just go to clubs and they could kill it, you know? Yeah. So I remember he had a basketball court.
Yeah.
And I was like, why is the basketball court there? He goes, well, if the gangs get physical, like, he'd rather them play basketball and get burnt out than fight, right? So they're always playing basketball, so they're too tired to fight, supposedly. And everyone got along great. They had a chef, and everyone like just eating and just playing basketball and dancing. It was great. And painting. Man.
How cool. I'd like to hear you do that again, though. That.
Maybe after the.
So because you bought all the paint from the stores, you only had like certain colors left, right? Is that kind of the deal?
So
paint in certain colors.
At the end, I was stuck with leather brown, school bus yellow, and baby blue. And if you're from LA and you know my career, there's a lot of pieces when I went through some hard times where I was in a very negative state.
Yeah.
That say fuck you, and some pieces that just like, you know, breaking up with girls and just heartbroken stuff. And like, I have these depressing pieces, and they're all leather brown, baby blue, and school bus yellow. Because for some reason that was the shit paint I had, and I just use that every time I'm in a bad mood. And it's kind of funny because you know Picasso, and all stuff. If I look at my stuff, I'm like, oh, that's when he was very tormented and pissed off. Like, yeah.
They can tie it right back to that. Well, obviously, that's a good thing. That's not all they had left when you came to Cleveland, because, like, you know, it's like every color in the rainbow here. So that's freaking awesome. And then Old Habits Die Hard book. So I think I've got that book here in the gallery. Right? You signed it. So can you talk a little bit about how that came about?
Yeah, so Roger Gaspin, a good friend of mine, he does art in the streets. He did Beyond the Streets. He said, let's make a book. And I wanted to make an art book. And he goes, well, I don't think you can make an art book unless you tell your story first. So that's an autobiography, really. It's not really an art book.
Yeah.
Some old stuff in it. But like, I was bummed out because I just wanted to show all the paintings I'm proud of. And he goes, that's book number 2. And
okay.
He did that because I was just told my life story and it put it in perspective, and it kind of explains me and explains why and how and what. And so I think we're going to work on part 2 pretty soon. But that book is really not an art book; it's autobiography, you know. But with some pictures, you know? But yeah, it's been great, and you know, he did so much research and dug up so much stuff that I was just amazed by. Like, you know, he got my parents' divorce papers and just random shit that he found. I was like, how did you fucking find this shit? But it's pretty cool. And Roger is working on part 2 of this, right? So we're working on part 2 of Roger.
That's sweet. With Roger? Sweet.
And that'll be more of the art stuff. So
I'll come to that show. Brian, make sure it's on my calendar. Come out to the opening for that. Yeah, so color wash. So we talked about the colors, and you kind of, as you continue to do different things and brought in your palette in sculptures and in paint and art form, you moved into the color wash. Can you talk a little bit about how that kind of all happened, Kelly? And
so the color wash,
yeah,
the color wash came out. I was in 2010 or 11 Olympics with Ron English and Shepard and Tristan and Saber, and we're sitting there, and Ron's like, "So Risk, what are you gonna do?" I'm like, "I don't know, right, Risk or something." He's like, "Oh wow," and he looked kind of bummed out. And I was like, "What's up?" He goes, "We love Risk, we love seeing Risk," but he goes, "You know, you're here, you should make a statement." I'm like, "Well, I'm not a political artist." He goes, "You don't have to be political, just whatever." And I got really pissed off. You know, I went up to the room that night and I was like, "Fuck that dude." And I started thinking about it. No, he's fucking right. Like, I'm here paying for the Olympics, and you know, I'm just gonna write Risk and whatever. And so I started thinking. So I came back and I go, "You know what, man? I just like the motion of color." And he goes, "Yeah, you're exactly right." He goes, "You're a color filled artist." And he goes, he pushed me to get there. He goes, "Look up that and this, that's what you are, and that's what you are, and blah blah. And your murals are different than your graffiti, and that's what you have to focus on." He schooled me, right? So I was like, "Cool." And I became a color field artist. And I was like, it's cool because I came back and I told him, I said, he goes, "So what's that mean to you?" I said, "Well, it means to me is I started to think about what made me the most happy in my career doing graffiti. And it was the next day going on the freeway and seeing the piece. And I realized people going 70, 80 miles an hour, and a lot of pieces of wild style, they couldn't read it. They just saw blur of color. But I remember the feeling I got. And I know the feeling they got too, because I'd be in the car with people. So I was like, let me see if I could evoke that same emotion without doing letters or characters. So it was a blur of color. So that's how that's how it started at first. So that's how it all started. So that was Beautifully Destroyed. And that's the story. And then graffiti is so important to me. I wanted to break down my graffiti and the circle and the lines. The circles are the most rudimentary form of graffiti, whether it's a cloud background or the bubble filling or whatever it is, you know, dots, whatever you call it. And then the lines, horizontal and vertical, represent weights and balances of fonts and letters. So when you see those architectural elements, that's the graffiti in the piece. And that's just how it happened, you know, and it just kind of like morphed from there. And that's what they're all about. And I became a color field artist. My murals are color filled. Some of my gallery work is color filled. Yeah. And yeah, and it's all because, you know, Ron questioned me.
And pissed you off, which kind of like made you start thinking, right? Got in your head.
I owe him so much. I always give him all the compliments. I don't think he's comfortable with it, but he really is responsible for a lot of my progression mentally as an artist.
It's really great. So the question is, who's going to piss you off next for your next discovery, right? Cool. How's that water? Good?
It's really good.
Anyone has questions, make sure that you throw them out on the chat function or the Q&A function, and we'll throw them out here. I know somebody really is interested in your sculptures and wants to know about how you got into sculptures and sculptures. Cindy Strebidge, yeah, she said sculptures a few times. I know she's just being a smart ass, but let's answer that question. Why don't we?
So the sculptures. So I grew up in New Orleans, and there was a guy named Mr. Walters, and over the levee by Pontchartrain, Lake Pontchartrain, he built this little thing. It was all found objects, and like buoys or nets or bottles or whatever. And he just built this crazy park. It was fucking just beautiful. And it was amazing. And it was like Mr. Walters Park. And it was made with shit that he found. It was just cool. And so I came to LA and I was running around the streets. I think I was high or something. I was in Watts or some shit painting. And I came across the Watts Towers. And I was like, Mr. Walters was here? Because it looked like some shit that he would build, right? And I was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, he's from New Orleans. And like, no, this dude's been here from there. I'm like, whatever. That resonated with me, and it was a big influence on me. And then, so it was time to do a sculpture. It was art in the streets. So I was doing art in the streets thing for Rock Desmond, and I wanted to do something different because it was beyond the streets. So it's not it was what you do after graffiti, right? So I was like, all right, let me do this thing, and I did the shark. But there's gonna be a couple twists and turns in that. So the first series was I wanted to pay homage to Damien Hirst because of the Natural History series, and I love that. And he said the great white shark they did was the world's biggest predator, all this stuff. And I was like, let me do an urban version of that. And I said that a cop would be the world's biggest predator to us on the streets, right? And like, I have this thing where they go through the streets and, you know, rats are like chum and they just, this whole thing. And so, you know, Damien Hirst cut the cow and he put the shark in formaldehyde. So at first I was thinking like I put like a cop in formaldehyde, and like, but that's kind of too much of a knockoff, and it didn't have enough meaning. So long story short, I came across doing the cop car and cutting it down the middle. So that cop car is actually the first shark in my series. So that was, I consider that sculpture a shark, not a cop car. So then I want to keep going with the sharks, and I did one with the license plates. I still have it. And it just didn't do enough for me. It was like really cool and fun, but it was just too kitsch and too like whatever. So then I came to the third shark, and I started doing the found objects. And I went to my studio and took everything I had and started welding it together to make a shark. And I think it was 18 feet long. And it became so monstrous. We started joking about his jaws and all this stuff. So I took it to Montauk, where, what's the guy's name from the Fisher? Anyway, the guy that Jaws was written about was from Montauk. So I wanted to debut the shark in Montauk, right? Because it's like whatever. And I called it, we're going to need a bigger boat. And the Hero Hotel, and those guys were awesome. They did a show for me at the Hero Hotel, Leland and all the boys. And they're just fucking amazing guys and an amazing show. And they wound up buying the shark and left it there. But that was the second shark. It was found objects. And then
still there? Yeah.
And so my sculpture work kind of came from that, because I was dabbling until then. And now I do many of these sculptures, sharks. I'm doing a dolphin for the Dolphin Stadium, like all these things, and they're found objects.
Oh, sweet. Are you really?
Yeah. And
wow.
So that's how it started. And yeah. And then I'm doing some small stuff too. Can we talk about it or no? Sure. Well, they haven't approved it yet, so we're doing stuff for the city of Beverly Hills. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's a gun piece, anti-gun piece. I'm making. Okay, can I talk about that? Sure. All right. So I'm making a big peace sign out of guns, right? So it's a whole thing to buy back guns from the city, meaning buy back like people who get guns.
The buyback program, yeah.
And I cut them up and I build a peace sign out of them, right?
Oh, cool.
And so we're doing that, and
so
then
the city on that.
What's that?
Working with the city on that.
Well, that's tricky. We have a lot of problems.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. But,
I got you.
And I'm working on some smaller versions of stuff. Like Dave Navarro's been over here, and he has dual diagnosis, and his logo is these guns like a butterfly. It's really fucking bitching.
I think I saw something on your story.
Yeah, we finished one the other night. We posted it. But
yeah,
we're doing all these things, and you know that one's his thing is about mental health and you know, he comes from an abusive background or an addict and all this stuff. So there's a lot of personal things to him in there with the spoons and stuff like that. But those are fun, man. I just love that kind of stuff. Like, it's just kind of fun to me though, a sculpture, I have to like walk around the studio and have something here and take it to make it. Like, I can't just like make a sculpture. Like, I can't just go to the store and buy shit and make a sculpture. Like, I have to like look around and be like, oh, fuck, I need to do something with that. I need something like build it like that, you know? And that's the meaning always, you know? And yeah, I don't know. We've got a couple sculptures.
Do you consider your tag behind you a sculpture?
No, that's a mixed media piece to me.
Uh-huh.
And so this piece is interesting because, you know, I don't know if you know about these pieces, but they're made of spray cans. I flatten them out.
I didn't know that. Sweet.
Yeah. I saved the cans, I flatten them out. And
I know you're saving them, yeah.
Yeah. So these are all spray cans.
Whoa.
You know, that's all spray cans that are flattened out. And these are license plates. And I call this metallic tissue. It's my DNA, my imprint on society as an artist. And because I'm a Southern California artist, I like to continue dialogue with the Ferris Gallery, who were these amazing guys, Ed Moses and Edward Keel, speaking of sculptures, all these guys. So surf and car culture is very important to me. So this is candy car paint and then surfboard resin. And then the metal is important to me because hitting metal, you know, my history of painting trains, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Spray cans, my metallic tissue, my DNA as an artist. And then the license plates are one love. They're all different races, colors, creeds, but it's just a license plate. And you put it all together, it's metal, it's graffiti and whatever. So that's what they come from. And I love doing those, you know?
I love it, man. That is sweet. It's beautiful. And I love to know like how it was formed. So how do you like how do you flatten out and shape you do all that with the cans?
Yeah, so I mean, you can't really walk around there. But
wait to get out there and check out, yeah.
So I cut the cans and I put them in a press and flatten them, and we hammer them out. We just bend them and tweak them and wrap them around. You know, I build the thing out of wood first.
Okay.
Wrap it, you know, and
very nice.
You can't see, but I save all my spray cans in these baskets. Now I call it the basket because, you know, I'm from New Orleans. My grandfather and my uncles were all fishermen. And I remember being on the shrimp boats, and I was a kid. I was always trying to put the bushel top on the basket. And they're like, don't worry about it. The crabs in the basket. They'll just pull each other down. They don't get out. And then later in life, I learned the term crabs in the basket, how people hold people down, right? So those cans represent graffiti artists to me because when I first started doing these color wash murals and stuff like that, people were like, what the fuck's that? Where's the letters? I'm like, crabs in the basket. So every time I see those, it reminds me never to listen to people and do what I want to do. And
you gave me that feedback. Chris.
Yeah.
And I've thought about it so many times since then. I remember when we were walking around the galleries, you and and I really appreciated that because I'm telling you, I think about it all the time when, you know, if somebody's like, you know, because I'm not an artist or whatever, I'm not.
To make everyone happy, ever. And then, but beyond that, it's just like, I mean, I'm a very positive guy, but fuck everybody. You know, do what you want to do, just do it. You know, if you have a good meaning and you're positive about it, like, just do it. You know.
Yeah, for sure. So, talking about like, you know, for people that don't really understand graffiti art, or, you know, or even the term graffiti has taken on a life of its own over the years, you know. I mean, you know, what do you know, what's your take on that? You know, people are like, you know, if they don't understand it, how would you describe it to them?
Oh, well, I don't understand it. Well, I don't know, man. I think it's such a sign of times. It's like, it's hard not to understand it now because no matter who you are, how old you are, what demographic you are, you've seen it, you get it, you understand it's vibrant, you understand its energy, you understand it's the voice of a younger generation. So you kind of get it. You might not like it, and that's fine, but I think everyone gets it, understands it. They just might not like it, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think you have to define it anymore and tell people what it is, because like it's not the same anymore. People aren't just, it's not just you know, people, it's not the voice of the ghetto. It goes so much further than that now, you know?
Yeah.
And it's so powerful, you know? If you look at Obama's election and Shepard's piece, you know, I think that played a large part in him getting elected. And politics, street arts plays such a large part in that. And like, it's a sign of the times, right? It's the old guard's very scared right now, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
It's the first time in hundreds of years that a young generation has such an interest in art where they're having museums that have the #1 attendance record for this kind of art, you know? So it's
Yes.
changing of the guard.
Awesome. So it's been almost, we were talking when we first got on, it's almost like two years since you came to Cleveland and got introduced to Cleveland, and we got to do this project together. And
yeah,
you were looking for all the great places to get kind of food that you like. And so a lot of the people, not everybody, but most of the people on tonight are from Cleveland. You know, when are you coming back?
I'm ready to go anytime. It's up to Brian. Brian doesn't like me to go anywhere. He's like,
Brian was here last year. Yeah.
I know.
I thought he was going to like pull you out there. Yeah. It was fun to see him.
I mean, I love Cleveland. I love you guys. I had a great time. I still talk to a lot of people that I met there. It's pretty cool. I'm ready to go. I'm down.
Can't wait to come out there. Check out your place. So
we go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame too. I didn't even check that out.
No, see, you guys were only here, what, about a week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we need to find another project so you can come out for part 2. Yeah. And what else you want to talk? Anybody got questions? We got some questions out here. We've got 20 minutes till the auction ends. And thanks again, Risky, for putting in a donation of one of your pieces. Appreciate that. I know there's some bids on that going up. I hear sculptures, damn, wine is good.
Did they ever put that car back together that they took out? Remember the car in the little yard there?
Yeah. So I had to hire one of the dudes at the school. I mean, he didn't charge much, but even though like Willie had pulled that thing out, yeah, I hired them to like put it back in. So it's back in the yard. It's sitting there.
Did the plants grow back?
No, I wanted the plants gone because I that whole like tree or the bush thing that made it look like a car. Yeah, because we want that space for like, you know, people to be out there. Yeah. But the front of the car's there. So we're just waiting for it to get painted by somebody, because I was spraying it with a god awful color last year when Brian was here, and I think I just got carried. Once I got that can in my hand, I just couldn't stop. Yeah, good times. Let's see. I love all the recycling. Let's see what it says here.
If you come to
what's the craziest piece you've reused?
What's that?
What's the craziest piece that you've reused?
I'm gonna get in trouble, but the nose of one of the sharks is a gun, and a very troubled young man brought me that gun, and he was just like, "Do me a favor and cut it up," and we did it right in front of him and everything, and it was crazy, but everyone's like, when you see the nose of it,
yeah, it's a story. So
that kind of started the whole thing about the peace sign with the guns.
What are you doing? Yeah.
These two came to me. He's like, "Hey, like, you got to get this out of my hands. You got to do this." Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, "Man, we can do this on a bigger level, you know?"
Yeah. Oh, I know. So just recently, about 2 months ago, you guys went to the plane graveyard?
Yeah, man. I wish we could show you around. We have a door right here. We just worked on today. Glenn, a good friend of ours that got us in there on those planes, is doing some stuff with us. He's a great guy. We're actually probably going to trade him for a part of a fuselage or a 747. It's going to be like part of our stop here. But it was great. It was awesome. But it was so windy.
It was windy. I watched the whole thing while you guys were, oh my God, it was funny. Yeah, it was so windy. First of all, you couldn't hear anything once you guys walked out.
We're going back. We're going to do the whole plane, but we're waiting for the wind, you know?
Okay. And then when you guys came in, it was just like a free for all. Yeah. Sitting down, talking politics, and then like, okay, let's get up, paint.
Yeah. The paint was like, if you saw me, I'm leaning against the plane to try to get the paint. I was like,
it looked fun. Where exactly is that? Is that in the desert? Is that in California?
It's in California.
Yeah. Cool.
It's kind of crazy to get to. It's gnarly. You got to go through so much clearance, and it's crazy. But Glenn is, that's his spot, so he's the man. He made it happen, but it's like not that easy.
Yeah. So somebody wanted to know, Kelly, can you talk about your motivation for the color choices of the graffiti art building? And I think that was part of your color wash, Beautifully Destroyed, no?
Well,
the color choices?
So when I was painted with Krylon back in the day, you know, we had about 12 colors we used all the time. And then when I saw Montana, who sponsored me, the best sponsor in the world, and I love them, they gave me a color chart. And I was like, 400 colors and 400 colors in this one and 400 colors in that one. Thank you. And then, long story short, I found myself going back. So now I reorder paint. You can't see the wall here, but it's all paint. And I would order 6 of 400 colors. And now I'm back to 12 colors now and like 60 of 12 colors. I just go back to the colors. So the colors on your building and the colors that I go to, the colors I go to are very derivative of what I painted with Krylon when I was a kid.
That's awesome.
I like these vibrant colors, and I was very known for these colors. You know, I first do fluorescence, and fluorescence was considered really whack back in the day for graffiti, and I loved it, right?
And you were known for that, yeah.
Yeah, I just like
that's what's so cool about it, yeah.
And then Slick, my partner Slick, was the man, and he could fade, he could do shading with that fluorescence that was like beyond belief, you know. So yeah, so everything kind of comes back. No matter what I do, it comes back to that. I'll start dark, it'll come back to that. I'll start light, it always comes to that. And so it's something that's just, you know, do what you know, and it's ingrained in me, and that's where it goes all the time.
Cool. So how are your girls? So you got
they're awesome. One's here.
Yeah. Are any of them artists?
They're all artists in different ways. They're actresses, they're artists, they're
Kelly's got 4 daughters.
Yes.
It really rounds him out nicely.
Yes. The oldest graduated NYU. She's an actress. She went to New Orleans to visit New Orleans, and she fell in love with a guy. She's 22 years old.
Wow.
And she's been there for a couple months, and they're going to come back here. So I'm looking forward to meeting him.
Very cool.
And then the youngest is, well, the 2 youngest are actresses. They were in the movie Vandal and did in commercials and stuff.
I gotta see that. I don't know. Is that like?
Not yet. It's gonna be
not
good.
Yet?
Great.
No.
But, and then the middle one, Charlie, who's here, she's left. She's a sculptor. She makes stuff, and she likes anime. Yeah, so different. They're all creative. Yeah, they're great. And Stormy, the second youngest, is a tattoo artist, and she tattoos people, and she's gnarly.
You got one, right?
I got a couple, but she was tattooing since she was like 6.
Wow.
And she's 11 now. So yeah.
But she's really good at it. She's getting really. She's mastering her tattoo art.
Give you where she wants to give it to, so it's a little strange. But she's tattooed some of the best tattooers in the world. Dave Navarro's going to get a tattoo by her. Like she's
when I'm there, is she going to give me one?
Yes. She's very headstrong.
Awesome. I'm game. Because I still need to get, maybe, I don't know if she can give me yours, because I still need to get yours.
Yeah.
Yeah. But cool. So
I've done a couple since we talked about it, I've done a couple. Franco Vescovi is a good friend of mine. He invented the Bishop rotary machine.
Yeah.
And once he put that machine in my hand, I was like, oh, it's a whole fucking new world. Like I was like, oh, this is awesome. So.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
So your happy hour has been going really great this year. For people that aren't that haven't watched it, you should follow Risk on Instagram. And on Thursday nights, 9 o'clock here Eastern time, they have a happy hour, and there's always something great to watch. There's a different type of art happening and conversations, good old stories, great guests that you guys have had. Sometimes they're on locations somewhere else, but many times they're there in Risk Studio there.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We don't really promote it. We do it a day or two before. So far, it's been only friends. We haven't gone out of the circle yet, and it's just great because like there's so much history with everything that's been on it, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
It's good though because we've been working really hard in the studio. So Thursday is our let loose night, and we let loose.
Yeah, so loose the night, and then the next day's a little rough in the morning.
Fridays are a little rough.
Brian, and Brian, I mean, he's got a couple projects in the works, right? What movies?
He always does. He's right here. You want to talk to him?
Do you want to? Yeah, we do.
Interesting to me.
So for people who weren't around when Risk and Brian were here in Cleveland, you know, Brian is responsible for the Saving Banksy movie and some other productions. Hey, Brian. Good to see you.
I didn't know I was going to be on camera. I would have cleaned up.
Oh, you look actually like all cleaned up to me. I mean, you look debonair and.
Thank you.
Yeah. How's it going? So what's going on with you? You got what's going on with your I know when you were here last summer, you were talking about some of the projects you were working on.
Yeah, I just finished a documentary on the CBS graffiti crew, which turned out to be one of the largest graffiti crews in the world. It was really one of the first Hollywood-based graffiti crews. Really interesting backstory there, and a lot of great artists came out of CBS. For happy hour last night, we had Mir here.
Here, right. Oh, was he part of CBS?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Cool.
So and WCA too.
Is are they all still around?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Mir, Axis, Trend, Atlas, Anger, a lot of great people in that crew.
Cool.
A lot of history.
Wow. That's cool. I mean, he looks like he's just out of high school still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Of course, yeah. Risk is in that one.
Cool.
I don't do any film projects anymore unless Risk is in.
I was gonna say that's good. Risk is debuted in a lot. I mean, he's in a lot of those films, including Saving Banksy and.
What you wish for? I get in a lot of trouble sometimes.
and you're working on one other, right? What's that other that one? The
other one's called Underbelly.
Yeah, the Underbelly. How's that going?
Good. We're still kind of tweaking that one a little bit.
Okay.
Hopefully that'll be up very soon. But that was a project that two artists in New York started back in 2009. They basically stumbled on an old abandoned subway station in Brooklyn that had never been used. It was built like 80 years ago and had never been used. Huge underground subway station. And over the course of a year and a half, they brought 103 artists in from all over the world to do everything from, you know, murals to performance art to sculpture to light installations, all secretly in this tunnel. And the artists range from Shepard Fairey to Ron English to Fail, Swoon, a lot of people from Europe, Russia, Australia, all did something in that tunnel.
Kelly, were you there?
Nope.
What?
I don't know. I don't get it.
That's why we're not done editing yet. I got to find a way to get Risk in it.
Yeah, it's like, where's Waldo? You got to kind of somehow like edit him in there.
My friends told me about it. I was like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah, like, I mean.
Cut. But I guess they were going to do a part 2 and they said maybe I was getting that. I don't know. But I didn't get to be in the one that I wanted to be.
You're just going to buff the whole thing after.
Tell her that it's right. Isn't it right below the police station?
Yeah. So over the course of a year and a half, they bring all these artists in, one or two at a time, usually on a Sunday night. They spent like 76 nights in this subway station painting from 1 o'clock in the morning until the sun came up. And they did it without ever getting caught. One person got injured doing it. And they had taken photos and video of every single artist that went down there.
Oh, geez.
At the very beginning. And one of the artists that organized it was friends with the arts and culture editor for the New York Times. And this artist was telling the New York Times guy about it. He's like, I'd love to see the pictures. And came back to the two artists and said, hey, would you mind if we did an article on this in the New York Times? Oh, shit. And they're thinking, you know, it's going to be a small article. And it was the last week of August, I think, in 2011, or last week of October, front page of the New York Times and a 9-page photo spread in the arts section, which initially sounded great.
Yeah.
Realized that, I think the line in the movie with these two artists that organized it was, we thought this was great because everybody was going to see it, including the police.
So that's a good thing.
Really came after them because the police, when they found out where the spot was, they figured out that if you drilled a hole through the lobby of the main police precinct in Brooklyn, it would go into that space. They were literally doing this art project right beneath the police.
How ironic. That is perfect. Epic. It's like, dong, right under our feet. Man, it's fun seeing you guys.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, really. Can't wait to come out and see you guys. For the audience, again, follow Risk on Instagram and check them out, riskrock.com. On Instagram, you'll just see everything that's going on with him and his art and all of the projects that he's working on with Brian and the rest of the team. It's just great human being. Just really what you're doing with art and community, and you're just inspiration.
But you haven't talked about, how do you pronounce it yet?
Pitoro!
Pitoro, yeah.
Pitoro. Well, I was telling Risk I couldn't open it. I don't know, like I can't open it. I need like stronger hands here, but I shoot everybody out. Can't open it. And besides, I don't like to drink Pitoro alone. I'm going to save this and somehow bring it out when we're together.
How long does it last?
Oh, it's moonshine.
Yeah, but that's fruit in there.
Yeah.
That bottle was made in 1863.
Yeah. Hey, anything from Puerto Rico, like it'll last forever. I'm like, I can't open it. Oh, well. So, what's that?
You like it?
Do I like the Pitoro?
Yeah.
I like the coconut kind. This one is probably mango.
What did we drink?
All of it, and then I gave you a bottle, and you and Brian disappeared.
Yeah, we ended up parked in like some industrial area.
Probably in the flats.
With like a half a bottle of that, like 4 o'clock in the morning, and we didn't want it to go to waste, and we didn't think we could take it back to the Hilton, so we just finished it.
Oh yeah, shout out to the Hilton Cleveland for putting up with these guys.
I might have went to an abandoned building and tried to do a piece.
Yeah, that's what happened.
I can usually paint. I can really paint drunk really good usually.
Yeah, and you didn't do one?
I don't really.
It might have been the Pitoro.
I don't
really?
remember. But like, I don't think it turned out so well.
Did you end up doing one? I was like jealous. I was like, I remember like, did you? Damn.
Yeah.
I gotta find it.
No, you.
It was that good, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when we get off the show, make sure, Brian, that you tell Kelly about my tag.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I've got. I'm sure. I think I have photos of that, but I know Ava's got photos of it. I think
Ava, she's trouble.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was just out here.
Cool. Did she move yet?
March 1st she moves in.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Good. Then Brian will really have to get to work. She's gonna be like, let's go.
Yeah, she can only kick my ass over the phone right now. So and when she gets out here, she can kick my ass in person.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when Brian was out there, and I don't know what the conversation ensued, but it just like dawned on me that when I was like in 1984 and 1985, I like came up with this design from the doodling, and I ended up making like buttons and t-shirts and selling the stuff to students. And it was like until the Kent State Center that I got the buttons made up, figured out what they were, they like stopped making them. But it just dawned on me that I have my own tag, and so that's what Brian will share with you when we get off. But
okay.
You don't want to
I'll make you one when I come to LA.
You don't want to describe it?
Well, his name is Mr. Peeper.
Yeah, his name is Mr.
Yeah,
Peeper.
but he's really cool. He plays soccer, golf.
And he's sort of anatomically correct. It's just
Yeah.
Other part is the.
But he's very active in sports, soccer, golf. What else does he do? Baseball, football. He does all kinds of sports. He's a jock.
Yeah. So this is your tag or a persona? I don't.
He's a tag.
Tag.
He's a persona.
Figurative tag.
Figurative tag. There you go. FT. All right, guys. I appreciate it. I could talk all night, but I know that you've taken this time, and we're getting ready to close the auction. And look, it was great to connect with you and see you again and catch up. And I miss you. Can't wait to see you guys. Yeah. Thanks. Keep rocking.
Love you guys. Thank you.
All right. Love you too. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Cheers.